Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole, and in today's video, I want to go over what happens after you've signed that paperwork to build your new home. You know that something happens after you sign the dotted line and before that house starts to get built, but what are those steps and what can you do yourself to make sure that you know what's happening on a day-to-day basis? So if you want to learn a little bit more about that in-between stage before your home is actually built, go ahead, give this video a like, leave me a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. So as you know, we are currently in the process of building a home. I would use that term loosely because we are a little bit behind schedule, but right now we are looking at hopefully having a hole dug this week. We'll see. We thought it might happen this past week. There is still progress in the neighborhood. We're kind of in line with another house being built. So theirs was dug last week. So we can only hope that ours is going to be coming up here really soon after that. So timeline, we signed all of our paperwork in November of 2020. Permits were submitted in December of 2020 with the hopes of groundbreaking in February and a home delivery of June or July. That 4 to 5 month time frame is pretty typical for most builders. Some will obviously be a little bit faster than others, but again, that's kind of a general time frame you can keep in mind. While you're in this in-between phase, it can be very difficult to kind of sit back, relax, and wait for things to happen, especially when things have been as slowed down as they have been recently. So here are some of the things in my personal experience that I have done and have been doing to make sure that I know what's happening with the house. Step number 1, your builder submits the permits to the county. County has to have a couple approvals in place before anything else can happen and your home can move forward through that building process. So what exactly is that? What does that look like? Again, these are in my personal experience. This is in some of the research I've done myself. Yours might differ a little bit, but in general, your process will probably look something very similar to this. First up is going to be that lot grading plan. This is where the county is going to send out a couple of people to look at the geotechnical review. They're going to look at the environmental services review. There's just a couple of things they need to do to make sure that everything is going to go according to plan. They're also going to review your new building residential plans, and then you will also need your first permit to be done by the county. So for us, that first permit is a new single family dwelling. So how do I know these things? I'm going to show you a little bit about the public records search. Luckily, all of these permits, plans, inspections, everything else that you're going to be looking into are a matter of public record, so you should be able to find that for your particular county. We'll go into that a little bit later. I'll show you how all of that works. Second, your state health department might actually have to get involved. So for us, we are on well and septic in our new house. So we knew that a separate inspection was going to have to be done by the Virginia Department of Health. Now, a lot goes into this. That ended up being, I think, a 43-page document. Again, still a matter of public records. So you can go in and search and see for yourself what all of that looks like, but it is a rather extensive inspection. All right, so you've got a couple of those plans in the system. You have a permit. Maybe the Department of Health has already come out. If you do have that well and septic, what happens next? Hopefully we're moving into that territory where they can actually start marking off your home, but there are a couple other things that do need to happen first. There will be a zoning approval if you have any type of accessory structure. So we're having a detached garage. That's its own separate item that needs to be taken care of as well through the permit process. And then we also had to have an erosion inspection done. Now that should have been the last thing that is going to enable us to be able to get that hole dug here this week. Now for my county, there are 3 different types of permits that I'm looking at. Permits probably is not the right word because one of them is permits, one of them is plans, and the third is inspections. Now, while I do think that having all the knowledge that you can possibly have is always going to be a good thing, we can go into a little bit of a dangerous territory here. So personally, again, we thought we were going to be moved in by that June-July timeframe, and instead we don't have the hole dug quite yet. So we're about 7 months behind schedule. So that has left me, unfortunately, with a lot of time to kind of stalk these permits over and over again. Now, it has been very helpful with the learning process, but that being said, when you're just sitting there clicking refresh, 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 it can get a little bit taxing on your mental health. So look them up if you want to know, if you're curious, if it is something that you want to keep in touch with, but try to set some limits for yourself. Look them up once a day, twice a week, once a week. That would be amazing. That's not something that my personality type could really handle at this point. But again, set up some barriers for yourself, some rules, so that you don't go down this rabbit hole of just searching and searching and searching, because day to day, there might not be a lot of progress. It might not get in the system exactly when you want it to, especially if it's over the weekend. Sometimes those things will be left until Monday. So something could have made progress and you're just not gonna know about it just yet. So while you're looking over everything, you found your county public records website and you've been doing the research, you know where the other homes in your neighborhood are, you know what you have in the system, you know about what should be happening next, and you're not seeing that progress. it can be very tempting to want to call the county and figure out what's going on. Their contact information, again, it is their county website, is going to be there. I need you to take a breath real quick. I would not suggest calling the county yourself. This is where you really have to know your builder and trust that they're going to be doing what's best for you. I would suggest calling your builder first and foremost before trying to go into the county themselves. So why do I say this? Obviously, cutting out the middleman seems like it would be a no-brainer. It makes a more direct line of contact and you can get what's going on straight from them. The thing with the county is that they are building a lot. If you just go through what they have, not only for your neighborhood, but what they're working on in general, there is a lot going on. I know it is frustrating. Believe me, I am there right now, and it is heartbreaking to know kind of what your timeline should have been, and it seems like the progress is just slower and slower and slower. I get it. I feel for you. But you are completely reliant on the county for these things. So I'll give a little personal anecdote from our neighborhood. So we know where we were in the process of our lots being sold in the neighborhood. We were like the 4th or 5th to last lot. So we knew about where everything else should be when ours should be coming around for our turn. There were a couple ahead of us that definitely should have been further along in the process. And I can tell you that right now there is one poor lot in particular that is definitely ahead of us, should have been ahead of us, and they are still a grassy, overgrown lot. Nothing has happened, barely anything has moved in the system. Now, apparently what has happened, and not saying this is something that would happen with you or that should happen at all, but it sounds like what happened is they were obviously, as we all are, very concerned with the progress of their home. So they started going to the county with a lot of their own questions. Now, what happened here? Seems like the paperwork kind of got lost. Now, did it actually get lost? It's possible, but it's just very funny that the lot that we do know for sure was going to the county on a pretty regular basis is now the one that has fallen way behind. So just a little bit of a cautionary tale, just something to keep in mind. Again, go through your builder. The middleman is there for a reason. So just try to get your updates. Again, figure out when they get theirs, get on a good cadence with them because they are definitely in contact with the county themselves. Another way to use this public permits database is to kind of look at where other homes in your neighborhood are, and then you can kind of see what the general flow is for the permit process. So when I started, we had nothing in the system, but we had homes that were already built. We had some where people were already living in there. We had homes that were just dug up, homes that had a foundation, homes that had the general structure up. So it gave me a good idea of what I needed to see before any of that could happen. So I took a lot of notes on our drives through. Tried initially to only drive through the neighborhood once a week, which was easy enough for us. It's only about 10 minutes from where we're currently living. Once a week isn't too often. I think that now we're much worse off. I drive through like every other day. But what this does is it let me see where everything else is in the process, look up all the permits, and then figure out a general timeline. Now again, we were speaking with our builder, but you're kind of at the mercy of the county. So it's not necessarily a first in, first out basis. It really helped me to understand which permits, plans, inspections I needed to see to get a better idea of when we could expect to see progress ourselves. Again, it's not an exact science, but it did help, and a lot of my estimates that I was just able to piece together have turned out to be pretty accurate so far. So that can help give you a little bit of peace of mind into the time frame of when your home will be built. The last thing I want to mention is going to be dependent on your builder. There are some very large, very well-known, well-recognized builders. There are some smaller ones and everything in between. So our first home that we built was with a very large builder in the area. They are popping up all over the place. I mean, they're literally building 2 rows down over there, and these townhomes are just flying up. Anywhere else in the area, it seems like they are just popping up left and right. Then you have our current home builder, which is much smaller, a little bit more boutique, a little bit more customized. So there's going to be a give and take. Yes, the large builder is going to have those homes up fast, and I can't lie. It really hurts to see all of these other buildings flying up, knowing that we are quite behind in where we would love to be. However, I have also lived in one of those homes before, and I can speak to the quality, or lack of quality, if I'm being completely transparent here. So again, kind of that give and take. That home will be built much faster, but there might be a little bit of a sacrifice on quality. Again, this is a very broad generalization. It's not necessarily going to be your experience, but from, again, my personal experience with that home builder versus, we'll see with this one, those larger, more prominent builders tend to get all of their materials first. I know there are a couple of back orders with our personal builder, and I think that just comes down to the size of the company. This builder is very large, well known. They're definitely very big in this area, and I believe just along the East Coast, whereas the builder we're currently working with is just much smaller. It's just like with your bigger stores and companies, they're going to have a little bit more pull than those smaller builders. However, the big thing that I am very, very excited about is the difference in quality. It will definitely be worth the wait to not go through some of the headaches that we felt in our last home. And there were a lot. So those are the main points I wanted to go over today. Now we're going to take a look at some of the county permits, how you can figure out where you are in the process, and just some information in real time as I've seen it myself. I really hope that this can help you in your process. For starting your search, just open up your web browser and put in your county and building permits. You're looking for something that goes over specifically the building development process, any of the forms. Those are the kind of keywords you want to look for to see if you're in the right place. Once you click in there, there's going to be something like a search public records place where you can click in and start typing out your address. So here, I'm going to put in my street name. As you can see here, there are currently 440 items in the system. Those are across the permits, plans, and inspections. Now next, I'll type in my actual house number, and here you can see we have 7, 2 permits, 4 plans, and 1 inspection. When you click on a couple of these individually, that can take you to their progress. You can click through some of the tabs to get a little bit more information here as well. Once you click in, you can see things like the status, when it was applied, when it was completed. You can also look into some specifics. So here you can see the date that our environmental inspection was completed. If you go a little further down, you can see that actually had to be resubmitted. After that, again, we are on well and septic. So this time, still typing in the county name, followed by well and septic records. And from here, you'll have to click around a little bit to find your state, your county. For my county, it was organized by street name. So click on the corresponding letter, and that will take you through to your street name and drill down further into your actual address. And then you can see the full report from there. Hope this was helpful. That is it for this week. I hope you did find this helpful. If you did, if you're going through something similar, go ahead, leave me a comment below. Love to chat with you about it. I do hope to see you again soon in the next video. Until next time, bye.